The French Religious Wars from 1562 till 1598. Video by Izabela Milanova, Iveta Petrovska, Pamela Hristova, and Teodora Margaritova from 10.5. In the 16th century, somewhere around 1560, in France, there were two religions, Catholicism and Protestantism, also known as Calvinism. But the coexistence of the two was inapplicable and started 8 wars of religion. After the death of Henry II, who had 4 young sons, heirs to the throne, in 1559, the crown took the oldest of his sons, Francis II. He gave access to power to the Guise family, who were Catholics, by allowing them to take control of the 2 most powerful institutions of the state, the army and the church. They wanted to take the throne from their Protestant rivals, the Bourbons. The Guises revealed the Protestant plot of the Bourbons, and the leader of the Protestants, Bourbon Duc de Condé, was sentenced to death in 1560. The same year, King Francis II died, and his brother, Charles IX, became the new king, while their mother, Catherine de' Medici, became regent of France. In 1562, the first religious battle of the French Religious Wars was launched when Duke François de Guise massacred 100 Protestants. But as soon as the battle began, the Huguenots, who were French Calvinists, fled the court. The Guises still needed to get rid of many successors to the throne, such as Henry Bourbon. But the assassination of Duke de Guise by a Protestant in 1563 deepened the conflict between the Protestants and the Catholics and added a personal vendetta to the wars. The Guises formed an alliance with Spain and encouraged the slaughter of Huguenot congregations and leaders, while the Huguenots united with the Swiss and the Germans. By marrying her daughter to Henry of Navarre in 1572, Catherine tried to strengthen the conciliation between the crown and the Huguenots. This was the perfect opportunity for the Guises to strike, at a wedding that would be attended by many important Protestants. The Guises slaughtered many Huguenots, but the most influential ones were able to escape in time. This event is known as Saint Bartholomew's Day Massacre. The violence continued to spread throughout France and prolong the wars. This made the Huguenots seek revenge on both the Guises and the crown, since they merely accepted the results of the massacre. Catholics known as politics joined forces with the Huguenots against the king and sought settlement of the wars. Charles IX died in 1574, and king became his brother, Henry III. In 1576, the Catholic League, which ruled Paris, formed and continued the deed of the Guises after the massacre. When the successor to the throne and leader of the politics, Duc d'Anjou, died in 1584, the next in line for the crown was a Huguenot named Henry of Navarre. In 1585, the last civil war broke out, the War of the Three Henrys, Henry III, Henry Guise, and Henry of Navarre. In 1588, Henry III ordered Henry Guise and his brother's death. After that, he and Henry of Navarre combined forces against the Catholic League by besieging Paris until the Spanish came to the rescue of the Catholics. In 1589, Catherine de' Medici died and Henry III was killed by a priest as a revenge for the murder of Henry Guise. Henry of Navarre was the last successor to the throne, but in order to become a king, he had to accept Catholicism because a Huguenot could not become one. Also, the League proclaimed another king who was Catholic, and the Pope excommunicated Henry. In 1594, he converted to Catholicism and became a king of France. One king, two faiths. In 1598, he proclaimed the Edict of Nantes, which granted limited toleration to the Huguenots. This was a compromise that everyone could accept, but it still didn't stop the passion for war between the Catholics and the Protestants. There were 18 attempts to kill Henry until he was finally killed in 1610, but by that time he had already re-established the monarchy and brought a little peace to France.